Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis here, and I wanted to get this developer update reviewed to you guys. Last take was about an hour, so I think I got a little long-winded, so I'm going to try and make some of my points a little more succinct, but still get out there to you guys my thoughts on a lot of what has been going on in the world of Destiny 2 since launch and otherwise. So, one thing I did want to say before this update came out, the tension on Twitter and probably all of the Destiny community was really, really high, and I just want you guys to remember something. This is a video game. Remember, it is just that. It's meant to be a form of entertainment, and if it's something that is not entertainment to you, it's not fun anymore, there's so many other options out there. Try and find one of those. It's supposed to be fun. It's okay to be passionate and want something that you see potential greatness in to be great, but it's never worth the negative emotions of anger, hatred, threats, anything like that. Leave that stuff out. So, public service announcement out of the way. Let's jump in and see what all is going on in the world of Destiny 2. So Christopher Barrett, if you have not followed him on Twitter, I highly suggest you do that, has come out with an update for plans for what seem to be like the rest of the year of Destiny 2. So 2018, we potentially are looking at a lot of changes. Some people may say they should have been there because we saw them in Destiny 1. Some maybe changes you're like, yeah, that makes complete and total sense. Why didn't you do that in the beginning? Some are other additions. It's like, hey, they're finally getting around to that. Others are additions. It's like, okay, that's kind of cool. I mean, there's different levels of changes in this, and before I get into all of them, my general overall question for Destiny 2 in general, because I haven't really made a whole lot of thoughts videos, are I don't know what decisions happened before Destiny 2 launched. We had a lot of systems and things that were tweaked and worked throughout Destiny 1, somehow did not make it into Destiny 2. I know there were some changes that wanted to be made, but in general, it seems like a lot of things that were learned from Destiny 1 did not make it into or affect the design of Destiny 2 in ways that seems like it should have been a no-brainer to put in there. Now, that being said, I don't work at Bungie. I have no idea what's going on. There could be decisions coming from above Bungie. There could be decisions within the team. There could be a shortened development cycle for unknown reasons that don't give you time to put all the features you want in a game, which is maybe why some of those features are listed on this update. Whatever the reasons are, I wish I could have an off-the-books interview with a couple of the people at Bungie just to understand. It's like, okay, so certain things were here, they seem to be working. What was your idea behind this change? What happened? Nobody would ever have to know, but just for my peace of mind, I would just be really, really curious to know. So, all of that aside, take this update for what it is. It is still Destiny. It is still Destiny 2. This is still going to be the game that they have made. They're trying to make it better. Some of these are baby steps. Some of these are improvements that maybe should have been there from launch or sooner than later. But these are things that are steps in the right direction to say they are listening and they are going to try. Basically, what we want is the Yoda version of that. Do or do not. There is no try. So they are going to be doing some things that are going to change this game, and there are things that they are going to be able to do sooner because they're easier fixes, and then there's overall system revamps that take a little bit longer. Things like the feel of Crucible, how it doesn't seem that fun, and the kill times, that's a vast overhaul of like a third of the game. Then you've got things like, here's a bug fix for XP that doesn't display properly, and they're trying to figure that out, and that could be just a little buggy, but that's a fix of one specific thing. And once they figure out how to do it, they're going to get it out there as soon as they can. So those are different levels, and there's different scales to all of this stuff. There are so many systems within Destiny 2 that I'm sure talk to each other and communicate in the way they use the memory in your system and all of that fun stuff. So there's a lot we don't know. So unless you're the one making the game, or if you're a game developer, by all means, feel free to chime in below. I'd love to know some of that. But what I would really like to know is just your guys' overall thoughts on their planned changes. I know this is not going to bring people back to the game that have potentially already left because they stepped in, it wasn't what they were looking for, and they've left, but hopefully these are things that are going to improve the game and then take Destiny, Destiny 2 2.0, so like whatever a fall re-release of a Taken King style thing, which honestly, if they wait till spring of 2019, I'm fine with that. Take however long it takes for you to feel good this time about releasing something. Destiny 1 came out, we weren't entirely sure. Destiny Taken King came out, and it was like, this is what we wanted. A clear story, all the quests, progression afterwards, the raid was cool, all those things. If it takes you longer to do that the second time around, take your time, please. There's other games out there. I still have so many hours of Zelda to play, it's not even funny. So, First thing they wanted to do, Christopher Barrett wanted to just say, you know, they are listening, and you'll be able to tell they are. So first we get to the Destiny categories of content. They just want to clarify expansions are what you buy. That's the new strike, campaign, destinations, all that stuff. Seasons are what's just kind of ongoing in the game. Iron Banner, faction rallies, just things that kind of rotate throughout the game, and they're going to be there for everybody. You don't have to pay for it. If you own Destiny 2, you get to experience these things. Eververse is the final one. This is supposed to be customization items, boons, and emotes. Basically just cosmetics, as it should be, and please always keep it that way. Please. That's all I can ask. Now, if you were wondering if they were listening, Eververse has been a hot point for everybody. That's their first bullet point. So just even in the level of priorities to list things, Eververse is a thing. So they basically, to sum it up, they want to take a lot of things that are within Eververse and put them into activities in the game. Honestly, 2 thumbs up. They should have been doing that from previously, and this is where, again, I wonder, it's like, is there somebody above that's saying, hey, put more things behind Eververse, maybe we can make more money there? Okay, the community's pissed, let's talk to the people above and be like, hey, we can't do that. Is that how it went? I have no idea. Speculation like anything else, but whatever was attempted before, between whoever made the decisions, thought it was a good idea, it seems like the community did not react well, so they are going to make a shift, which is nice. So, for example, they're going into the Crimson Days event, and they're literally making changes in a month. So in Crimson Days, if you do a Nightfall, you can get a legendary emote. Straight up cosmetic from doing a Nightfall. For the raid, if you do that during Crimson Days, you can get a weapon skin. If you do the Crimson Days milestone, you can get an exotic sparrow. These things that were basically like, you know, an emote, sparrows specifically, weapon skins, some are, some aren't. All of those that were buried in Eververse are being pulled into game activities. Also the Crimson Engrams, you know, those short time activity engrams, are going to be coming with every one of your level ups. So you're not only just going to get an illuminated engram, your basic Eververse stuff, you're also going to get the Crimson engram every time as well. So the more you play, the more you get. Bonus. Crimson engrams can drop from completing Crimson Days matches. That's the Crucible thing, I think, is what everybody has the speculation of. And then Crimson Days milestones as well on each character. So you can get quite a few just by playing and then doing your milestones and matches. Just Crimson engrams without having to pay in for anything. So that's kind of cool. They're making them more readily available and not the grind like the Dawning. That's a whole different argument for another day. And also it says Crimson engrams are very strongly weighted to new rewards. It would have been even better if they said you will always get a new reward from a Crimson engram. If it's a 2-week event and somebody who's a medium casual level player, they don't have enough time to throw at it to just play until they have everything. It's nice. Now, if this was like 51% versus like 80%, kind of don't know the math there, but I guess somebody will figure it out and see. I just hope it's closer towards like the 80-85%. Make it substantial. If I get a duplicate like Ghost or, you know, random thing occasionally, maybe, but more often than not, it better be something new. They also wanted to touch on the experience rates, the bar at the bottom of your screen versus the numbers that are shown. There was the issue before that the number shown wasn't there and it wasn't showing what was actually being done. They were trying to make it to where if you're grinding public events, which is a very easy thing to do, you got less experience by doing those over and over, because if somebody's sitting in a raid at the exact same time, they can't get as much experience and therefore things because they have encounters that they're just wiping and dying on, and potentially like the dogs, you don't have that much to kill. So they were trying to balance those. It seemed shady to some because they were saying, hey, you were showing us one number and the experience bar was going up another. They wanted us to buy Eververse engrams. If you want to give them the benefit of the doubt, you can say, hey, this was a system that was buggy and it should have been tested so it showed properly, but it wasn't. It's like they knew if they had the system in there that was going to change the amount of experience you got, you should have potentially tested the system, having people play this over and over and over, and if it's not changing the bar and the number correctly, that should have been seen. So again, this is where I wonder about the amount of time to develop the game and test it before release and other things. So raises bigger question, but if you give them the benefit of the doubt, they have been trying to fix it. Now their first attempt was way too buggy, so they have to try a different direction. But the fact that they actually said something was too buggy and we're not going to break your game for you, I'm kind of okay with that. It allows me to still play Bungie, or it still allows me to still play Bungie, allows me to still play Destiny, and they're still trying to fix it. Should it have been fixed? Sure, but they're trying. So then we get to the actual dated updates, the things with dates and timeframes that they're going for. They get a little more vague as they go on, and that's giving themselves some freedom, but at least for a change, they're giving us some relative window as of what to expect. So first we get to the January 30th update. Probably going to stick the way we go down the page. So Masterwork Armor is first. So, Masterwork Armor, as you expect with weapons, it's going to be the thing that you have a chance to get it when it drops. If it does, what Masterworks will do will increase the damage reduction while using your super. Now, this is good for some supers, say an Arc Strider or a Stormcaller, a roaming, like relatively close super. I can't just like chunk a Nova Bomb or a Golden Gun. But on the other end of that, if I'm a Golden Gun and I fire 3 shots into a boss real quick, the whole idea of Masterworks provide me next to no benefit for that subclass. So it's something, but unfortunately for me, it feels kind of empty depending on what class you're using. If I'm running around with hammers or I'm running around with, shield, sentinel, whatever, Titan seems to actually probably get the most out of this. Hunters with Golden Gun, Shadow Shot might be okay. You could probably survive a little longer. But like Golden Gun's a big one, kind of gets screwed. Void Bomb, those are the two. It's just one big slam bam and you're done. So the damage reduction isn't going to serve you very well. So I guess you can't win them all, but it's something for now. It helps maybe the supers that are a little harder to use be more effective. So that I'm kind of okay with. I just wish it was something that would help everything. That being said, Masterwork Armor brings me to armor, which is something I haven't really talked about with you guys, but armor really doesn't do that much for me. You guys may have seen other videos out there. Mobility slightly increases your walking speed. Resilience gives you a smidge more health per point. And then recovery is the one that seems to be the most effective because it gets your health recharged faster. That being said, what I would really, really like to see, and I don't know if Bungie is ever going to watch this video, but what I really would like to see is those stats to really matter. If those are the ones that you want, make them matter more. Because right now, the raid armor versus a piece of armor I get from a public event, if they're both heavy Titan armor, they're the same thing. So the perks on the armor, for one, are lacking, but two, armor itself doesn't do me much. So say, for example, sorry about the tangent, but this is going to happen. Say you have 4 hunters that are on a PvP team. They run full mobility, and just for sake of argument, say you only have 10 points that you can put towards one of your stats. So you literally are 10 mobility and none of the other 2 stats. I know it doesn't work that way, but this is just for sake of argument. So they can move quickly. Say you're in a Crucible match, or you can just move and flank quicker. You can cover, points quicker. You can have one person on A, they can be on C like crazy. On the other side of that, you have Titans. They're going to run full resilience. They have, say, 270, 280, 300 health for whatever you want to imagine, a substantially larger pool of health to work with, but they're a lot slower. So, I mean, they can't strafe as quickly, so that would matter. They can't sprint back to cover as quickly, so they're going to be exposed longer, but they can take a substantially larger amount of damage. Now, the way this is going to work out could be interesting. You could have 2 hunters run real quick to a point, but then if you have one, Titan with a scout rifle picking people off, but he can take a few more shots and take them out, then maybe he can work together. If the Titans try and run together as a pack, then they're going to be slow, and then the hunters the whole time are going to be just, holding 2 control points because the Titans can never catch up. But on the other end, if you have 2 Titans sitting on each one, and they have about the same amount of health as the 4 hunters that are running together, then you're going to have an interesting clash. That's what I would like to see out of armor stats. So I apologize about that tangent, but I want the armor stats to matter. And also we get to more things later where perks will hopefully matter too. So Masterwork Armor, it's something, and it helps some of the supers that are a little harder to use because you can get taken out before you take advantage of it. But it doesn't help all the supers. I guess you can't win them all. Raid rework. So the hardest, most difficult thing in the game, they want to make the rewards more unique and interesting. It seems very straightforward, but at least they've finally come to the realization that's what we want too. So they're going to feature, the gear is hopefully going to feature raid-specific perks via mods. They're going to have each major encounter drop an item for sure, which is good as opposed to tokens. And the raid vendors will now directly sell armor and weapons for purchase with raid tokens. That's fine. Honestly, if you go through a raid and you're like, man, every time I go through this, I keep getting the helm. I just cannot get the chest piece, but I've done this raid like 10 times. If you make the chest piece like 50 tokens, and that's the one thing I'm missing, that works. I'm kind of okay that it takes a while to get there, so please make them expensive so you don't just throw all the gear at us for, one raid encounter. But, if it's the one piece and I'm just beating my head against the randomization dice roll and I can't quite get it, it gives me an option to go get it. So I'm okay with that. Just got to be careful we don't get it too quickly because then you take away the point of the raid. So, whole different battle there. They also said they're going to have ghosts with raid-specific perks that come from the final encounters of raids. That's kind of cool. You could have infinite number of perks on a ghost. Who knows what those are? Then we come to the February update. So, here's where it comes back to more of things in Destiny 1 that I wish were in Destiny 2, and they're going to be doing some of that. Should it have been there? Probably. Was the development time, the cycle, decisions otherwise? Who knows? So I'm going to kind of sum things up at the end. Strike scoring is coming back, so it's only to the Nightfall, and it's replacing the time limit. Now, if you remember strike scoring in Destiny 1, finishing a strike quickly still mattered. So the faster you do a strike within time or whatever it is, the more points you would get. So they say they want to emphasize competitive execution and also have player selectable score modifiers. So if somebody like me wants to go through and have a couple modifiers on there, so you guys like, hey, I want to do this one, but I want to take a little longer to do it, that's fine. And I can show you guys the guide, and I may not get as high of a score. If somebody like Esoteric wants to run through, crank on every modifier, do it as fast as he can because the dude is a beast, then he can be rewarded by having an epic high score for being a solo run, and that can be something that rewards him as well because the speed will still reward him with a higher score. I hope it's something like that. We will just have to see. They're also going to track high scores with the medal, so you'll actually be able to see them. So, cool. Mods 2.0. Rework all the mods. Absolutely makes sense. The sooner the better. They just don't matter that much to me right now. I mean, if I'm a Titan, I'm typically just going to throw everything arc on that I can, and then some counterbalance for my weapons, and that's about it. So not much of the mods really does a lot for me, so a revamp needs to happen. Quick play improvements. I really just scratched my head on this one because I don't know what they're going to do. Increase the pace of gameplay and power ammo acquisition. If it's faster times to kills, that'd be like a whole weapon balance thing, so I don't think it's that. If it is respawn time, if it is the scoring max, so just the games go a little quicker, maybe that, but increase the pace of power ammo acquisition. I don't want to see rockets flying everywhere all the time, so that's a tough line to walk too. So we'll just have to see what they're thinking, because honestly, you could think of a lot of things for that. Honestly, don't know, but changing it up for quick play, but not competitive. Again, they're missing, I don't know. So PC tower chat, perfect. Throw it in there. Should have been in there from the beginning. Just kind of one of those things that just needs to be there, but it looks perfect. If this came later, would have been nice, but oh well. Exotic repetition or reduction. Please, I just had an example where I was wearing a pair of boots. I had an exotic engram to decrypt, and then I went to go turn in a milestone. I got the same boots I was wearing, so therefore I had two. Turned in the engram, I got the same boots I just got from Zavala that I was wearing, and then I was holding 3 of the same thing within 5 minutes. That kind of sucked. So please stop that. That'd be great. Fire team members on the destination map. Yeah, I think other games do this, and thank you. Just thank you. I wish it would have been sooner again, but I will take it when I can get it. Spring update. So they're going to have the second expansion. I don't know when, depending on the feedback, the things they want to change. There may be a little delay to this. It may be a little, who knows? I just want them to do it right. Take your time. I'd much rather that. There are other games to play, as I say, so if it takes a little longer and then I come back and really love it and you've put a lot of stuff in there, hey, maybe I'll stay around longer, so we'll see. But they also want to put in other features related to around or before during Season 3, so these are the things they're thinking about for springish. Remember, spring is March 22nd to June 22nd. It's a big window. Give them time. First is Crucible. They want to bring rankings in there. It's not like a ladder system, which I hope they get to later. But for now, you've got Valor, which is one of your rankings that's just going to go up into infinity. The more you play, the higher it gets. If you win, it goes up even faster, but for now, it's just the more you play. So if you're a Crucible addict, you're going to have a crazy high score. That's kind of cool. Glory, on the other hand, is going to go up with wins and losses. So the more you win, the higher your glory is. That's going to be your kind of performance skill number. That's going to be kind of the bragging rights. Kind of cool. I mean, there can be more hopefully later with like ladders and tiers and things like that where I'm not playing against the crazy people who just mop the floor with me when I want to go try and do something, but that's for another video. Private matches, they're basically like Destiny 1. I kind of wish there was more to them, but there's not. I wish private matches were custom games. I want us to be able to design random things like Mayhem, but even cranked up even faster, where it's like every second you have a super. That'd be kind of insane. Just experiment with it, though. Let me change recharge times on things. Let me change what weapons are available to use. Even if it's just weapon types, just snipers and sidearms, for example. Completely long range and completely short range. Could be kind of goofy, but you never quite know what's going to work. But if the community, like, experiments with everything, because you have a lot more people who can test your game that way, they might make some fun stuff, and then you can implement it later on kind of with a few professional Bungie tweaks. So I'd love to see custom games with a lot more modifications. Say they don't matter, but honestly, if people have 335 gear, but I'm sitting there playing a game mode that's really fun, who cares? I'm in your game. That's kind of the point. Then you've got a 6v6 playlist coming back. Honestly, didn't see that coming. I mean, I kind of figured Rumble would be coming, which later on they mentioned it's supposed to be down the road. but 6v6 is supposed to be coming back in one way or another. Now, is this going to be like the beginning of Rift? I don't know. Is it just going to be Control, Clash, and the basics of Quick Play? Again, no one knows. You can speculate all you want. If you want to hear more, believe me, I had my hour-long spiel. You can think of a lot of things for it. I think Rift in 4v4 versus 6v6 is going to be a different game, though. 4v4, you don't have as much defense, and if you run together as a pack and you whiff, basically, it's going to be a lot higher scoring, I think, especially between resets, versus a 6v6 match that's going to be a little more tactical. You can leave a couple people back on defense, maybe a little flanking, so I think it would be lower scoring there. So it's like, you know, football points for soccer points. Might be a little more tactical in defense and less scoring as opposed to throwing points on the board for a basketball game. So I could be wrong, but it just seems like it could go that way. Mayhem is going to come back a limited time event. I wish it wasn't limited time. Have it just as a featured Crucible playlist that comes up occasionally. Let me log in on Tuesday and be like, oh, Mayhem's here this week. Sweet. Just a random thing. Have it show up. It's a lot of fun. We want to use our power abilities, and it's a nice kind of goofy way to do that and just burn off some stress. So I wish it was just more frequent, but eventually it will come back. They're also working on things that are going to help with less quitting, security, stuff like that, just basics that we all need. Additional highlights for the spring update. I'll go into these in a little detail. Weapon and ability balance pass. I wish this wasn't waiting for spring. They always wait very long in between. I wish they would take some of these tweaks for weapon balancing if they think things are up or down, throw them in a little more frequently, and just see what happens. I mean, if the meta of the week is like, okay, sidearms are overpowered, well, it changes the games and I'm going to use some different weapons. And then snipers all of a sudden have like absolutely zero recoil and they're crazy to use. Like, just have some random stuff happen occasionally. I know they're very specific on wanting things to be very balanced, but as some people have said, being balanced can be boring, so have things get a little crazy sometimes and we might have a little bit more fun. But eventually a balance pass will come. Also abilities. Honestly, just a rework of the whole class system is a different thought entirely. Exotic weapon and armor balance pass. They want the exotics to feel like they stand out from the rest of the gear. Yes, please, because right now you can run a full legendary setup and not feel like you're really missing that much. I mean, certain things like Celestial Nighthawk have their uses, but outside of very specific ones, there's not really a specific gun that I feel like I have to use that's an exotic. Some are kind of fun to use, but none of them feel exotic and stand out. So please, yes, make exotics live up to the definition of their name. Make them OP and make it a hard decision between two pieces of armor that can be vastly different in how I play and how I'm benefited by wearing said exotic, but I can't really decide because both are very good. I want that level. So please make exotics actually exotic to a distinct level, because you can wear them in all different slots and different categories. So if I choose a piece of armor and a kinetic, scout rifle, and somebody chooses a helm and a power weapon, we're going to have different bonuses, but hopefully they're both really cool. And also helps the raids be a lot more interesting. Maybe they're worried about breaking raids, who knows, but then figured that's just a whole different, ball of wax. Then you've got seasonal reputations. Basically, if you rank up, you'll get seasonal rewards. That's fine. Improved Iron Banner and faction rallies. Faction rallies are pretty straightforward. The more you play, once you pledge to your faction, better chances you have to win. And it's just kind of like one of those general things that you don't know who's going to pick it. Iron Banner, honestly, right now, it just feels like a different color of Crucible. So I honestly want them to make Iron Banner mean something different. I don't know if it's a different mode, if it's something just that stands itself apart. But right now, Iron Banner doesn't feel different to me. It's just a different color armor that comes from it, and not much else is different. So please make Iron Banner its own actual thing, and then I might care about it. Because I used to. Power didn't really matter, but it felt like it kind of did. So please do something with Iron Banner. Playlist repetition reduction. You're not going to have the same strike 6 times in a row. Just make sure and do that. In-game player pursuits. So the in-game right now, a lot of people feel like it's just grinding for cosmetics. Hopefully they're going to change that. Putting quests and stuff back in there. Throw that stuff in there. Make it to where I want to go play a quest line that covers 2 or 3 adventures. So add the couple, go make a couple adventures that work together or something like that. You can finish the adventures, do that thing, go back to a vendor, they talk about a quest, kind of implement that in there. Make quests and make all the things matter. So yeah, in-game player pursuits, just across the board. The in-game, of course, we're looking for that. Multi-emote wheel, just being able to use more than one emote. I think we all have wanted that for a while since there's a ton of emotes, so thank you. I wish it was sooner. Vault space. This is one of those things I wish I could sit down with a developer off record that understands that can tell me why vault space is limited. If it's a decision on, the game gameplay level to be like, hey, we don't want people's vaults full. Okay, but you have us want to collect all of these things, but then you don't want to allow us to hold it. It seems counterintuitive. Okay, so then if that, can I ask the other question of like, so what gameplay systems limit you? Is it memory? Is it everything that loads? Is it each page that loads? Is it animations? What is it about the vault limit space? Because we got rid of last gen and now you have PC and they still have probably more memory and stuff that you could throw at it, and they still can't have bigger space. So this is just one I want to understand more than anything, and I wish, even off record, that I could just understand it. So they're going to work on an accessory tab for exotic cosmetics like ships, sparrows, and ghosts to help a little bit of space, but I think they are working on an overall complete solution. So the 50 slots that they want to give is a band-aid, and they know it. So they do know it, but again, I would just love to understand this one for sheer sake of development and design, game design. PC clan chat. In addition to the tower chat that is targeted for February, they're working for a clan chat, which also should have been in there. You want PC clans to be a thing that matters, especially for a brand new audience. The quicker you can get clans talking, the better off they're going to be. Finally, Heroic Strike changes. They'll be introducing modifiers. This is another one of those questions. Heroic Strikes in Destiny 1 had modifiers. They didn't have as many modifiers, but you have literally strikes that rotate, all of them except the PlayStation exclusive, and they have modifiers each week on the Nightfall. So why not take those same strikes, the same way they're built, and just throw one modifier on there? Even if it's not the time limit one, because I know they want to get rid of the time limit mechanic, which is fine, but at least just put one of them on there. Be it momentum for your health, just kind of makes it interesting. You got to watch out and be a little more careful, but your match made, you have 3 people. That's fine. Torrent, just throw a few modifiers in. You have new modifiers on Heroic Adventures and Heroic Strikes, which launch at the same time, do not have modifiers. Just Heroic Strikes right now feel like strikes. There's literally, to me, 0 difference in those playlists. So why this has got to wait till spring, I don't know. Again, questions I don't get answered because I'm not there. I would probably just annoy whatever dev I got to sit down with because we all want to ask questions. But those are just, again, things that make me wonder, were things rushed? Were things not allowed to be confirmed, tested, whatever, before they were able to be put in? So a lot of questions as to what was allowed within the game and what time they had kind of may explain some of this, and these are answers to questions we may not get for a very long time. That being said, we come to the fall 2018 list. Some of these are large cans of worms, and they're things they're looking at, so let's dive in. Got item collections and records. Okay, so collections and records hopefully help with vault space, but also things like records are cool. Be like, I've killed, 2,870 Cabal. Just random stats like that are just kind of cool to have. I know they probably have the stats. Let's just see them. This is one of the bigger question marks. Weapon slot and archetype improvements. So you've got archetypes, which are going to be your submachine guns, auto rifles, hand cannons, stuff like that. But the weapon slot improvements makes me wonder a bigger question. Everything that is mostly powerful is sitting in that power weapon slot. So that's everything from shotguns, fusion rifles, we all know what's in there. If they wanted to expand those to the other categories, that's the only thing I can imagine the weapon slot improvements means, is moving other stuff around. Now there could be kinetic shotguns or energy sniper rifles. Is it that? I don't know. But would that change up the game? Yeah, it definitely would. So there's some major testing hopefully going on with that. Additional Crucible playlists, i.e. Rumble would be one of them, so it's somewhere out there. Honestly, the way Crucible is right now, with the longer time to kills, I would love to play Crucible Rumble right now with the meta as is, just to see how it feels. You're going to have a little longer kill times. I might be fighting it out with somebody, and you might have somebody come up and flank you in the back, and then you're in a tough spot. It just might be I'd love to have some fun with it right now, because the one-on-one gameplay that nobody really gets to experience due to the team shotting, I think could be interesting to experience as a Rumble match, because that's going to change up your dynamic of how everything feels. Better clan rewards, that's cool. I enjoy the engrams, but, if we get to rank 6, then maybe have it mean a little more. It's probably going to be themed for each season, but still, better clan rewards, not a bad thing. Masterwork exotics, I don't think one Masterwork on an exotic right now would overpower anything, so you could probably do that sooner than later. If Sweet Business had a few more bullets, it's not going to do a whole lot to me. If Sunshot had a little bit more range or stability, again, I don't think any of those are going to be OP, so sooner the better. Pinnacle weapon and gear improvements. Now, Pinnacle is the peak, like the elite, the top, whatever that is. Pinnacle weapon and gear improvements. Does that mean raid gear? Does that mean like strike exclusives. I don't know what that one means, so let me know in the comments below what you think that one actually means, because that's kind of weird when you talk about weapon slots and you talk about, you know, raid gear and stuff like that. Pinnacle is still the top, but you picture raid as the top, so I'm kind of lost on that one. Trials of the 9 improvements. These probably can't come sooner. Sooner the better that these come is probably going to really help the game, but honestly, I feel like Trials of the 9 is going to need like a rework as well. Shaders and dismantling. Why this is fall 2018, I don't know, but it's at least on the list. And future of guided games. Yeah, probably a little more incentive. Maybe if you finish it, you get an extra piece of gear or something. I don't know. Something would be cool. Like if it's a guided game and you run through it, you have a second chest at the end. That'd be kind of cool. And then finally address solo versus fire team matchmaking. Overwatch does it. If it's 6 people and they have a team of 4, and a team of 2, and a team of 2, that's the exact thing you're going to get matched up with. So, I mean, if you're in 4v4 Crucible and it's 3 and 1, or even 4 people on one team and you go against 4 solos, odds are you're going to win because you're talking and working together. So, yep, that needs fixed too. So that's kind of my rundown, guys. Generally, as I said previously, and I do 2 recordings, so if I repeat myself, I'm sorry. But what I want to see in this game is them to dive a little more into all of these systems. Have the stats mean a little bit more. Have the exotics have more weight to them so the decisions are harder and they actually matter. If I have 20 exotics and I don't really care about using any of the weapons, that's a problem. Having raids actually be rewarding. This is good. Having cosmetics be allowable in other places. Take like one artist, set him in the corner, and have him design some of the coolest, most awesome ships and sparrows. Put that stuff in Eververse. So you have an occasional chance to get it. If it's a limited time, it might give you incentive to play more. But then have like the medium tier artists that are going to still do awesome because all of the art and all of the art from Bungie continues to be awesome. And let them put like 10 different things, like 10 to 1. Or 5 to 1. I don't care. A decent amount of game activity stuff, and then the really kind of cool shiny stuff over in Eververse that can be tempting, and if you want to buy it, you can. It was just like the masks. You could get most of them, but Eververse, if you wanted to go for those, then you could go for like the blue flaming skull. I didn't have to have it, but if you wanted to pay for it, you could. Same principle there, and I think some of these changes are going to be good. Should some of them been there at the launch of either the PC platform, Destiny 2, Curse of Osiris? Should things have been in place when all of those things came out? Probably. And when you look at back at Destiny 1, you have to ask questions of like, how after 3 years of a roller coaster that you had a great fan base, do you leave a lot of things that were working in there, or just changes that were added and systems that were included and different things that have been, you know, added to make the game more interesting, and just didn't put them in Destiny 2 at launch? That's where I come back to the question of time to develop, pressure from either different sources, or, you know, implementation of what they have to work with. And those are all questions we don't know. So if you enjoy Destiny 2, let me know your thoughts on this update. Is it too little too late? Some people will say that, and unfortunately it may be somewhat factual because some of the player base may have left. Are these little things going to be something that brings somebody back after leaving from Curse of Osiris being like, man, I'm 335 and I'm kind of done? They may come back for the next expansion, and hopefully a lot of this spring update is around or closer with that expansion, so many things feel better, which will be good. The fall updates are going to be more system overhauls, so those feel like they're going to be later, which is understandable. But in general, it feels like they're trying to do things to take the game to a place that people want. But again, not everybody with the public doesn't always know what they want. They may think they know what they want, but again, we didn't know we wanted Zelda, and we got, you know, Breath of the Wild, and that was pretty amazing. Again, we didn't know there are certain things in Destiny that we wanted. Bungie made them. We like them. We may critique them, but they still have some pretty smart people over there. So I'm not apologizing, saying the game is perfect if you guys can't tell. There are some pretty tough moments when I sit there and be like, exotic weapons need to be exotic. Yeah, that's just one of those lines that you read that and kind of it's like an old school duh, but they're afraid of some things. And it's like, be it the balancing or other things, things have been, you know, made too casual. And if they take this to a different level and back into a little bit more, that's what I'm hopeful for. So I can cross my fingers that the big system overhauls may be things that I want. Destiny is still going to be Destiny, but I'd like them to dive a little more into things. But a lot of the changes I see coming are steps in the right direction, but small steps. Most of them are not big overhauls, and again, that is a time thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Told you it'd be about 30 minutes. I tried to cut down the hour one. I'm at about 35 right now. So I will wrap this one up here for you guys. If you have questions about any specific topic, leave it below. If you're like, hey, I just want to know your thoughts on this, I could probably go ramble on for like half an hour and throw that up there if you guys want to hear. Or just do 10 minutes on one tiny topic, who knows. But the idea is, this is my general overall of kind of where Destiny 2 is at, my thoughts on the update. They're baby steps in the right direction. They are doing things that are going to be changes. Is it too little too late? That's, again, for the, player base to decide. I think the bigger things that will always continue to pull people back are the expansions. And if they do these little pieces in the interim that with people are still playing the game and maybe dabbling in others, if they set the expansion up right and, drop it in May, but they've had time to implement most of that spring update, and the game substantially feels a little bit better overall, then that may be the right timing for them. So take all of this as you will. Remember, it's just a video game. If it's not fun, just remember that. So I do want to thank a sponsor of mine, actually. You guys may not have heard that one yet, but it's DMC-Group. They're a European group of IT companies, and they actually helped sponsor my channel and helped me with a kind of different project I have, and I will be dropping a video on that one later. But they are kind of a sponsor to my channel, and we're just working together. And they're a group of IT companies that support basically the gaming and technology culture. As when it comes to companies out there in the world, wherever you're at, most of the people that are going to end up working with you are either gamers in technology, and the people that are going to work in that field, they want to support that field. So I just wanted to, again, thank them for my sponsorship. My project wouldn't have happened without them. So I will cover more details on that later, but that's just a little dabble. And then other than that, you guys know where to find me. If you did enjoy the video, drop a like below. Always helps out the channel. Leave comments, questions, thoughts. I want to know what you guys think. I mean, I had 200 people reply to that poll thing, and about half of them were, about 60%, 70% was at least 20. Some were 30. The comments were mostly 30 minutes. That's why this ran long. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You guys know where to find me and follow me. Twitter.com/Ebontis, Twitch.tv/Ebontis. Once this project is done, which is computer related, I'll be streaming more and stuff like that. And then right here on YouTube. If you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Hit that alert bell as well. You guys will know when new videos come out. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I haven't done just a my thoughts on anything video in quite a long time. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. There will be more to come. But other than that, have a good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're at around the world. Thank you for your support on my channel, and have a good one.